to us the guest who is the lead talking to us now, so that the colleagues, the rest of us who have joined can also contribute their quota. I want to know.
Right, thank you, JB. It's a privilege and it's a dream comes true. I met this man about 4 years ago, and JB, you see, he's not a motivational speaker. He's a kingdom shaker. But if you are looking for somebody who has really influenced generations, this is the man. He has written over 300 books.
300?
Not 30, not 3. I'm talking of 300 books. Not pamphlets. I'm talking about books. I've had opportunity to have read about 50 of his books. I have about 100, so I'm on course, trying to read most of his books. And when you go to his blog, he has over 3,000 messages. Over 3,000 messages. And there was a time that he was preaching every day, 2 times in a day for a whole year. Series on program every day, 2 times, morning and the evening, for a whole year. So we're talking about a man called Sunday Adelaja. Those of you watching us, you can just Google and about him. And through him, you know, he has a church before the war. He has a church in Ukraine, and the church, he's a Nigerian. It's a black person. At a service, he has more than 20,000 members attending a particular service. And the whites were 99.9%. You're talking of Ukraine, Russia. I'm not talking about the Western, I'm talking about Ukraine, for that matter.
These are very high complexity.
I tell you.
That's not fine.
Yeah. And even in 2006, we read about yellow revolution in Ukraine. He read it. And changed the political spheres of Ukraine. Apart from the fact that his church, we have 20,000 members coming. We have a particular church where we bring support. And we bring from our time over the first one of with degrees in Russia to the master. And he was a journalist by profession, so that's what he did. He thought that he was just man. But he was a consultant to the president. His close friend was very close. Even he has written a book, Covenant Brother, when Marshall died. He wrote a book about him. Very close friend.
When I was also digging the background, I saw that he's one of the few people who is privileged to have spoken before the Israeli parliament.
Sure.
And one time addressed also the U.S. Senate.
United
Nations.
Yeah.
As well.
Japan.
Have its opportunity. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, I think that we have one of the most prominent speaker across the globe to address our forum this evening. And we are looking at how do we, build this African continent using our own resources. And then the case study is Ghana, and that is exactly what we are trying to work at it and make sure that it comes to pass. But before he comes in, there are a lot of information he sent earlier to us. But before that, we want to introduce to you some of his books. I think
we have read all these books here. There's a book by Sunday Adelaja, Discovering the Purpose and Calling of Nations. This book, that's my favorite. This is a must book for everyone who thinks he's a politician. Anyone who wants to see Ghana develop. Because see, if you don't know a purpose of a thing, you either misuse it and abuse. But if you know the calling, and Joby, interestingly in this book, you will be able to know that every nation has a purpose and a calling. Every nation. No nation existed without God knowing about it and having a specific responsibility for that nation. You will love it. And when you read it, you realize that if you want to identify the purpose of a nation, look at the constitution, contact how the first or the forefathers, how they came together to help that nation to come up. So that this the book is a must book. If you are interested, you can contact us for that.
Now this one, how Africans brought civilization to Europe.
Wow.
We all thought that they rather came to teach us civilization. But when you read it, it tells you the real story. The perspective is so clear and you get it. If you want a copy, the title again is How Africans Brought Civilization to Europe.
Let me see something, one statement about
it. You have read them, so maybe as I announce the title, you can give us the background.
Wow.
David,
this book, do you know that at the point a black man became a pope? When you read this book, you know about it. And a black man brought civilization to Russia.
So even historians will be interested.
I'm telling you this. Amazing.
And now the other one I'm holding is how to overcome the fear of death. You know, a lot of people are afraid. Though they will tell you they are Christian, want to go to heaven. And when they are sick and I tell them you'll be healed, say, Charlie, I'm careful.
Yeah.
How to overcome the fear of death. It's also written by
amazing
our Dr. Sunday Adelaja.
Amazing book.
Yeah.
We have another one here. The beauty of Nigerian diversity. You know, because he's a Nigerian, but anything about Nigeria, it's like it's a good sample for Ghana as well. When you read this book, you then identify that you don't need to be worried as to which kind of ethnic group you belong. God has the right as to where you're supposed to come from. So please, it's a good book for you.
All right, but you can realize that, he brought in the Nigerian context. Tells you he's a Nigerian as well.
Yes, sir.
So interest and preferences are necessary.
That's
our discussion. We're also knowing, apart from trying to mirror the challenges and how we can overcome and build a better African society, we are also giving a case reference to Ghana,
sure.
The specifics on our country. That's how he is also interested in his country. We are also interested in our country as well. And the next book is how the Nigerian economy can overtake the American economy. This man is very, very ambitious.
No, but it's true. When you read this book, you love it. Because you see, it talks about the resources in Nigeria when it comes to oil and all the other
stuff. If you quantify the resources,
I'm telling you, and when they do something right, they can overtake America.
All right. Now, he said, money won't make you rich.
Wow.
God's principles for true wealth, prosperity, and success. I mean, what's the background to this?
Well, this is the book that talks about the difference between wealth, riches, and money. So therefore, when you know the law of money, you will then understand that you have to concentrate on having producing of goods and services as your major concern, not money. Because when you're able to produce goods and services, money will come to you. So when your focus is on money, you will get money. When you become rich, where riches is when you convert wealth, produce goods and services, then money will come to you.
Now this one, kingdom first, church second. What's that supposed to mean?
What it's talking about, in Matthew 24, verse 14, Jesus said, until this gospel of the kingdom is preached to the whole world, he is not coming. So what he's telling us is that God is interested in kingdom. The church is a subset of the kingdom. So we are focused to be kingdom first. In Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom and its righteousness. The kingdom.
Then the church will follow.
So the church becomes a subset. So we go to church, but the focus is the kingdom. The church prepares us so that we can function within the kingdom.
Said in Matthew, thy kingdom
come.
It is thy church come.
No,
thy
kingdom
come.
Yeah.
Now, this last book, I love this one. Building bridges, not walls or fences. The role of the elites in national transformation.
You know, this book,
you have to build bridges.
It's a must book for every public servant, every elite in the society, those who have gone to school, so that we will know that the development of our nation is dependent on the elite. Unfortunately, sometimes we put everything to the politicians, but the truth is that if you've gone to school, you are an elite where you can bring transformation within whichever location you find yourself. So that's a good book for us too. And more
so people, this is the man we are talking about, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. He is our main speaker tonight, and we hope to have a very, very fruitful and a very engaging discussion. At the right time, we also allow for those of you who have joined us to come. So welcome. Today is 17th of September 2022. We are back here. This is Kingdom Economic Forum, and our agenda is simple. We are looking at national development. That's all we are talking about. And this evening, we are trying to look at how do we develop this African continent using our own natural resources, and then looking at the case study using Ghana as a reference point. How do we develop it and make sure that our country, for that matter, is well, and whatever resources we have become beneficial to the people. And so, right. So as we speak now, I think we are waiting for the feed for our main speaker.
Our main speaker has given us an article, but now I've seen him coming on. DSA, hello DSA. Wow.
How are you, sir?
Glory to God. We thank God. I've been invited to Ghana so many times by so many people. This is the first time I'm really coming to Ghana online. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ebenezer. Thank you so much, the MC. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ebenezer. Thank you so much, MC. I said I've been invited so many times to visit Ghana, by so many people, Bishop Duncan Williams, Ajina Sare, and all the big men over there. But I've not been able to. But Ebenezer has been able to get me.
Thank you, DSA. It's a good experience to have you around. We are so grateful for responding to our invitation. Very grateful.
So to answer the question of the MC, everything I've come to work with God in such a way that nothing disappoints me, nothing lets me down. So even though the war is very devastating, and it's not just devastating to Ukraine, it's devastating to my family and to my ministry and to me personally. Of course, I've lived in Ukraine, in the former Soviet Union, for 36 years. And I've built my whole life in this part of the world. And so everything is gone in one day. We have a church, we had over 700 churches in Ukraine, over 25,000 members in Kyiv alone. And we have a great work going on. We have church building, we have many churches, I have a house that could take 60 people at a time, but even that, my house is bombed now. The Russian bomb has destroyed it. So it's not just a war that is going somewhere that I hear about or that I, just know about, but it's something that has affected me. But nevertheless, I'm not even discouraged. And I'm not, I'm not disturbed by what's going on, because I know that nothing happens without the hand and the will of God, especially when it comes to his children. He said, even a hair of your head will not drop on the ground without his permission. So I know that everything is like an evolution of God's will and purpose that's happening. If God allowed the war, it means there is something and a reason why God will allow that to happen to the Ukrainian people and the Russian people. There is a lesson that God wants to teach these nations and even the nations of the world. And for people like me, God has been speaking to me for many years to move back to Africa. And this war is just another confirmation that the time to move to Africa is coming. So I'm not planning. I'm planning to come.
And I'm sure coming to Africa will be coming to Ghana instead of Nigeria first.
Well. It has to start with. I've never been to Ghana before. So many friends there. And I think I see Ghana as Ghana and Nigeria as brothers, as siblings. So same thing. Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. Even all the African countries, we're all the same. But with Ghana and Nigeria, we're just family. So for me, it's the same. So no matter I go to out of these countries, for me, it's the same. It's home. Nigeria or Ghana, it's the same blessing.
But DSA will take you first. You come to Ghana, then you will pray from Ghana to Nigeria.
It's actually in line with my plans. I would not go directly to Nigeria first. I will go first of all to one of the African countries before I move to Nigeria. That is really true. That is the plan because
so that's the prophecy. It's a prophecy for you that you step in Ghana before you go back to
Nigeria. It could be Ghana. I've not reached a complete solution on that issue, but it could be Ghana.
That's fine.
I'm looking at Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, many of these countries in West Africa before I go to Nigeria. You are in spirit in that area.
Yeah, get it. But DSA, Ghana is a gateway to Africa. So I think it's in line, and it's in line to.
Yeah, Ghana is the country that sent a lot of Africans. Nigeria, but Ghana is not famous. No, so Ghana has to take
now, Doc.
We have to come back.
Now to the specifics now. You've written, when I was checking most of the books you've written over 300 books. What's that? And who is for? Why are you still writing? What exactly do you want to achieve?
Yes, I've written 300. Those are the ones in English, but I've written over 400 books if you are going to count the ones in Russia as well. But I have manuscripts, over 1,000 manuscripts already myself, just in my computer. So they are not written into books yet. But before I die, I hope to write at least 1,000 books before I die, because books can travel to places where you have never been to. For example, I've never been to Ghana, but my books are right there on your table. Books can be speaking to nations and millions while you are sleeping in your house. Books can live 1,000 years after you are long dead. Books can communicate your thoughts and your belief system to generations unborn. Books, even God himself had so many ideas, and God is a creator. He can create anything he wants, but he didn't find anything better to live for us on the earth than to live book. When God loved the world, he sent his son. But when his son left, he left his book. So book is a great thing. And if God couldn't find a better idea than the book, then you've got to write the book. We've got to know about you. We shouldn't forget about you after you are dead. We've got to keep on reading your thoughts and belief system after you are long gone.
Right. Wow. Thank you very much for setting the stage. And God bless you for joining us and spending time to be with us. We are so grateful for accepting to speak to us this evening on our forum. So we are grateful. But first of all, the subject we sent you to speak on was how the African continent will develop using its own natural resources. Looking at Ghana as a case study. But sending us the feedback, you decided to veer into a subject area that a lot of people have not even thought about it as the source of empowering the continent. That is time. Why did you choose that?
Because since I was a young boy in Africa, I kept on hearing the fact that Nigeria and Africa were rich, that Nigeria is rich with natural resources, and that Ghana is rich with gold and all the natural resources, and that Congo is rich, and they keep on talking about all these countries that are having a lot of natural resources. But then when I started developing myself and traveling all over the world, I discovered that all these European countries don't have even 1% of our, apart from Russia and America, the normal European countries don't have 1% of the natural resources that African countries have, but they are well developed, they are prospering, and we are wrangling in poverty. So I discovered that actually the wealth that they are exploring are not natural or mineral resources, but they are exploring God-given wealth that we hardly talk about, and is almost being commonized among our African people. There are 5 essential wealth that God has given to every nation. Even if you don't have natural resources, those essential wealth, they are the source of all other wealth. And if you can understand those essential wealth and know how to develop and exploit them, you will be richer than any other mineral materials that might be in any other country. But those natural things, they are invisible and untangible to the natural eyes. But they are the most important wealth. And one of those 5 wealth is time. For example, when you come to Europe, time is, people will even come before an appointed time. There is nothing like African time in Europe here. People will come, in fact, if you have a meeting at 10 o'clock, people will already be hanging around 15 minutes, 30 minutes before. This is not just, I know there are some people in Africa who do that too, but because they have been taught in the church. I'm talking about the whole country. And by the time you read the article or the address because I wanted to really put down my thoughts, because I'm a journalist by trade. I was trained as a journalist. I like to write. I can speak too, but I've been speaking Russian for almost 40 years. So I can speak English a little bit, but Russian is what I really speak. But when I write, I can really put my thoughts down. So that's why I thought, instead of speaking, trying to convince, let me just put that thought down and let us read it. Let somebody who is there, let us read it. Let us get the thought and idea, and then we could discuss. So wealth, by the time you read that article, you discover that just using time, discipline. And the reason why I suggested this, because we are talking about natural resources, the reason why I suggested this particular topic, which is time, is because we need to organize movements all over Africa, starting from Ghana, because I'm not giving this topic to Nigeria here. I'm giving it to Ghana first. So Ghana has been privileged to be the one to receive it first. So, but if we could start, I want to believe God that God will touch the heart of 1 or 2 people who will begin to organize a movement like NGO, like public pressure movement, just to organize people and to campaign for values, the value of time as a source of wealth of Ghana. And to begin to explain to people that there is something that we are wasting every day that is much more valuable than all the natural resources we have. And if we could take that campaign, not just to government offices, but if you take that campaign to private enterprises, take it to the commoners and take it to the grassroots, and make our people disciplined in terms of time, and begin to be conscious of time, and begin to maximize time. Okay, for example, now that we are sitting here with you, as we are sitting here, let's say an hour will pass or 2 hours will pass. In that 1 or 2 hours, somebody else is playing around, joking or drinking beer, or some people are just joking and just walking around. But at that 1 hour that they are using to wait, somebody is using it to, let's say, sew a suit or to bake some cake. The same 1 hour. So 1 hour is being used by one person to laugh around, to joke around. It's the same 1 hour. That 1 hour didn't bring anything to his life. And another person, that 1 hour is receiving knowledge that we are doing now and being empowered to do something and to create something, to come up with something new in his life. But that same 1 hour, somebody is using it, and that 1 hour he has been able to sew maybe 2 or 3 shirts. And that 2 or 3 shirts is bringing money into his life. In the same time, space that other people are just walking around or talking on phone or something, doing something like that. Same time. So the greatest source of wealth is what you do with a given time. So the same time could be used to joke around with by people to watch television. Other people are using it to create and to to generate wealth and product. It is how you use time and the value, the premium that you put on time that actually determines the quality or the standard of your life eventually. So if we could open the eyes of our people to see, I've written maybe about 5 books on time alone. So if people could get the message of time and the importance of it, and not just to come on time. What I spoke about in this article is more about punctuality and how that could improve our economy and bring. But this is just one aspect of time. But this is not even the main message. The main message is not just to come on time. No, the main message is converting time conversion. You must be able to convert time into products. Every second that you in your life. Okay, for example, in my own personal life, I was a young man. It was when I was 25 years old that this struck me. I was celebrating my 25 years anniversary, birthday, and it came to me that 25, I had finished my master's at that point. So I said, 25 years old, there is a product to show for my life. The product that I have a master's degree. Then I was thinking, but why just one product in 25 years? That is horrible. I said, but why can't I try to produce a memorable product, a visible, tangible product for my life for 1 year instead of for 25 years? So instead of me just saying that I have a degree at 25, that is my achievement and now I'm relaxed, let me try and make something also so important and so memorable between these 25 years and 26 years, within 1 year. And I did it. I produced something memorable that is comparable to my degree. Then the following year, I challenged myself. I said, okay, what about if I produce two products for my life that will be memorable and life-changing? Then, anyway, to cut a long story short, I kept on challenging myself like that until I got to a place where I say, every month, I must produce something historical. That is talking about the books that you see, for example, right? That if I write a book right now, I write a book every week. So a week that somebody has not been able to write a book in a whole life. But somebody is using 1 week, the same week that passes, you don't even notice it. Write a whole book. So it is how you place your demand on time. The demand that you place on time is what really demands the wealth that you create with it or from it. So, for example, a book is just one thing. There are some other people in America, they are for the students, so they pay you by hourly payment. So your hour, what does your hour, the hour of your life, what does it generate for you? So some people just get salary in a month, but that is, you don't value time that way. But by the time you begin to know that 1 hour of your life you could produce, you could lay a demand on it in such a way, to be giving you $20 an hour. But you could now challenge yourself that no, I want 1 hour to be producing $100 for me. But there are some people in this world that are making $1 million in an hour. It depends on the value that you place on that time. So you could put a limit to time and lay a demand on it and derive from it. So like right now, I've gotten to a place whereby I want to be able to see the tangible result that I produce in minutes of my life.
Good. Doc, so it's good to be able to sway us to look at time. That's fine. But we are still looking at time within the perspective of the African continent and how we can use time to develop ourselves. With all that you were saying, by your biography I read, you left as early as 19 years to have scholarship outside. You've been there by the grace of God for some time now. When you were analyzing on what is happening on the African continent regarding time, what did you find as the main reason why Africans don't value and don't place any premium on time? Share with us.
I have a book, I think maybe Ebenezer knows, it's called The Mountain of Ignorance. Mountain of Ignorance. I stand to declare that the biggest problem of Africa is not poverty. Neither is it leadership. Like many people in my own country say, it's just leadership. If you just have a leader, everything will be okay. I will say the greatest problem of Africa is ignorance. It's not even the devil, because the devil is God has dealt with the devil, right? And it's not even sin. Religion will tell us it is sin. Pastors will talk about sin every day. The energy that our people, our pastors, and our churches spend on sin alone, let them just dedicate that energy, that time frame, that time to put people down and say, you have sinned, you go, don't sin, don't do this, to use it to talk about people's development, people's potential, to give them empowerment, to give them knowledge about relevant things in life, how to maximize themselves and how to use time. Let them teach them the principles of life. In that time, you will see everybody blossom. But when we are just putting all the emphasis on religion and on this, on government, we are just wasting our energy on the wrong things. We should, in fact, in my own country, Nigeria, and I think almost all the countries in Africa, I think people are just wasting their life. The politicians, they're just facing the wrong thing. They are talking about, economy, GDP and things. What they're supposed to talk about most is about the development of the mind of every citizen of their country. We should make sure that every citizen of our country is enlightened, is developed in his mind. Human capital development. Human capital development to have understanding, the importance. Okay, let me just give you an example. Look at Europe. In Europe, everybody must work. If you see people coming from Africa, that is what they discover here. Everybody must work. And what that means is that everybody is developed enough to be able to produce some goods and services. So everybody is educated. No, when I say everybody, I don't mean to the last person. Maybe there are some people who are not, but I mean, virtually speaking, that everybody is educated and everybody must contribute to the economic development of that country. But in my country, only 60% can even know how to read and write. They are not even literate. And I'm sure in Ghana too, there are some percentage of people that cannot even read and write. Talk less of being conscious of what a GDP is, or being conscious of how to produce goods and stuff. They are not ignorant. But even out of the people that can read and write, that doesn't mean that because people can read and write, they are educated or they are enlightened. Let's take Ghana, for example. The amount of people in Ghana that are really educated and enlightened, that are carrying the economy on their shoulders, cannot be more than 20%. So can you imagine that the GDP of Ghana, if you look at people who have contributed to the creation of GDP in Ghana, the really enlightened people, maybe it will be 10 or 20%. So those 20% are shouldering the responsibility of the other 80% of people who are just ordinary people. who are not maybe the illiterates or people who are half educated or people who are not really enlightened, only 20%. Can you imagine if we increase that and bring human capital development to Ghana in such a way that, I mean, Russians did it. They used a leader in Russia, they call Stalin. They gave themselves 5 years. But when he came, only about 20% of the country was educated. They gave themselves 5 years. In 5 years, everybody must be educated. They eradicated illiteracy in 5 years. In 5 years, everybody could read and write. But besides that, the next 5 years, everybody must get a profession. You don't have to go to university, but you must get a skill that you are using to add to the economy, that you are using to produce. Just like the same thing China is doing. So let's get everybody enlightened in the essence that everybody knows what is contributing and what is producing, what particular goods and services is producing consciously. So right now we are trying to compete with European countries where 100%, let's say 90% of their citizens are engaged in economic development. They are producing something. Everybody is working, and not just working, carrying labor or something. No.
They have the requisite skills.
Yes, skills to contribute to economic development. They are consciously creating the economy, and we are just having 20% of our own citizens carry and then want to compete with them. That's why we are perpetually behind. And my own politicians, they will be wearing agbada and they will be wearing some things and talking some rubbish. This is so elementary that it is so elementary that let's just put a program. Let's use all our budget to just make sure that everybody is conscious of what life. Do you know there are some people in Ghana that don't even know what it means to be the Republic of Ghana? They don't even know what it means to be a country. They don't even have the consciousness enough to know what's a parliament. They are just existing from day to day. No, those people are in the darkness. They are in ignorance, total ignorance. And even people who are educated, people are just, they are just trying to fight for survival. There is no conscious contribution. There is no enlightenment of the mind of every citizen. That is what we need to achieve, first of all. If we could achieve that, that is the human capital development. Human capital is the biggest capital. So by the time everybody is enlightened like that, we will not even be talking about gold again. Everybody will be creating. Everybody is having a skill, is creating things. They are the ones that are making use. The gold and the silver, those are just the tools now they are using to be able to create the new economy.
All right. So ignorance, if I heard it right, was the first thing.
Yes.
Still on time. You spoke about certain principles of time. What are they? Can you walk us through?
You mean in the book or in the article?
Sorry?
Are you talking about
in the article you said?
No, in the article, yeah.
Well, in the article, I was speaking about the fact that time is the raw materials. Is the raw material from which life is created. Just like you say, this is my cloth, the raw material, it is cloth, it is material. It is one white cloth that was painted and cut, and the material is cloth that was using to do my shirt. So I have a shirt, but the raw material of this shirt comes from clothing. So the same way, if you want to look at the raw material from which life is created, your life and my life, that raw material that your life is hanging on is time. That is why every day you are born in a certain day, and a certain day you die, you go. And why do you say that? Your time finishes. So time is actually the essence of life. So whatever you are doing with it any single time, it is life you are wasting. So you are either using a minute and a second and an hour of your life to recover it, because every day when you sleep, a day of your life is gone. 24 hours is gone. You have just lost a part of yourself. When you sleep another a week, a whole lot part of your life is gone. When it's a month that you have wasted, you have just destroyed a big, huge chunk of your life. So life is actually hanging on time. So what are we supposed to do? So it is sure banker. If you look at me, sorry, I didn't prepare for this question. I would have. Let's say I have a cup here, and I'm drop every minute. Your life is dropping. So let me try and get something up here. So look at it. This illustration here. Look, this is your life here dropping. Non-stop. Non-stop. Your life is going, tickling every second. So what will a wise person do? You will not allow this water, this life that is dropping, to just be flowing out in the street. What a wise person should, this is your life that is dropping, it's your life. Either you like it or you are aware of it or you are not aware of it. It's dropping. And it's not stopping. It's pouring out every second. So what is the answer? The answer is to convert that, find a way to get that thing, like I'm using this bucket to get it, and convert that life that is getting out to do something creative right now, to do something constructive. If you don't, you will never regain it again. It's gone. So that very second that is going now, minute that is going now, that is time. So what I do is, like you say, why do I write so many books? Those books that I'm writing, it is trying to convert the money, the life that is dropping out of me every minute, every day. Try to convert it into another substance, into another product that will remain when the old life has gone from this bottle. So life is going out of my life, my bottle, my vessel, every second. But if I'm not converting it, if I'm not taking charge of that water to use it to create something, it means that life is gone forever. So that is our biggest problem with time. We are not taking charge of the life that we are dropping every second. That is why every second matters, because every second your life is dropping. Every minute your life is dropping. So what a wise person will do is to find a way to get, because you cannot stop it from dropping. It's still dropping. It's tickling. So you have to find a way to convert that life that is dropping from you every second into something else that you can see. So in my own case, you see book, you see videos, you see, because every minute is being converted into those products. So even though at the time I will not be there anymore, my life will have dropped finished. But you will see a whole huge list of products that have been, that time has been converted into. That is our greatest problem with time in Africa.
Amazing, amazing. But the next question is, in the article that you shared with us, you said that Ghana can double her GDP as far as time is concerned. I want you to explain that, how Ghana can double.
I begin to explain it now. Without reading the thing, it will be, that's why I wanted to, anyway, I'll just say the few words because it's better to read the article itself. So just by teaching people, and let's say the people who are producing wealth for Ghana, who are the working class people of Ghana is 10 million out of 30 million. You have 30 something million, right? 31 million. Yeah. So let's say 1/3 of it is the working class. Let's say 10 million people in Ghana are the working class. So 10 million people that are working, if we could teach them, because I'm sure many of them don't or know all these things I'm talking about time. Many of them have a free, loose attitude to time. People are just going to work from 8 to 5 or 8 hours, and they have worked, they have gone to, there is no something serious. But if we could just discipline, have a campaign, again, like I said, have a campaign all over the country, especially for the working class and the junior ones that will come to take their place, secondary school, university, but start with the working class and discipline them about the importance of time and the fact that time is passing every minute. They will not limit their life only to the 8 hours working hour. They will realize that, beyond and beside their working hours, they could actually be creating as well because their life is going. So that way, some percentage of the population will begin to think of what to produce. And then if we're going to train them to also know and to get skills on how to maximize time at their free time, use your free time to produce something. Because the television you are watching, it is somebody's production. The Netflix you are watching, it is somebody's production while you are just relaxing and watching it. So if we could teach people to maximize time, I am sure that if they are producing 10 million, the budget of, I don't know the budget, the GDP of Ghana is 70 billion. 70 billion. If we just teach 10 million Ghanaians, only 10 million, not 30 million, just 10 million to maximize time, by my calculation, that they will be increasing their working capacity by 3 hours. Only 3 hours, not even 6 hours. If we only increase their working capacity by 3 hours, we will 3 hours, let's say they are producing only $10 an hour. That will make it 10 million times 10. 10 million people producing $10 only. In times 3, that is 30 million. But anyway, by the time in a year, the GDP of Ghana will be produced again by people. Not just GDP is everything, all the wealth of Ghana from creation to today that is being realized is 70 billion. But that 70 billion could be produced every year just by disciplining people to maximize, to increase their effectiveness in time using by 3 hours. Only 3 hours in improvement in time, in time consciousness will increase the population, the GDP of Ghana by 90% in a year.
Yeah, but the next point on, we must intentionally educate people to value time from what you're saying. And that if we stick to time management, we will certainly get things on track.
The second thing that could be done, also, apart from just discipline, the second thing is teach them skills on what to do at their free time.
Good.
Empower.
So, yeah, and that brings me to the kind of body that will spearhead this teaching and provision of skills. And that is why, because you're a Reverend Minister, I'm bringing the picture in, the role of the church. People here in Africa think that we only go to church for spiritual edification. So we pray and God takes care of all my burdens and all my challenges are gone. That is what majority of the people we have around, especially on the African continent, talks about. And so the issue of our time and discipline and intentionally helping people to acquire skills doesn't work in a lot of the pulpits. You as a minister of God, how do we use the church? How do we craft our messages on the pulpit to address issues that you are speaking about?
You are deep. Beautiful. You are so correct, because if we are going to look, let's take the president of Ghana. By the way, I went to the internet and discovered that a lot of people are not very happy with the president of Ghana right now. And a lot of people even hate him from what I'm reading on the internet. But the point I want to make is not that. Let's take the president. On one hand, we think that the president should be the most powerful person in the country. But really, I think the men of God are much more powerful in Africa than the president, than any politician. Because every day in Ghana, for example, the statistics says 80% of Ghanaians go to church on weekly basis, at least one time a week. 80%. Can you, and I can guarantee you that there is no time in history of Ghana that 80% of Ghanaians have shut down to listen to the president or to listen to any one man apart from. Only pastors have this kind of opportunity and this kind of privilege. Pastors gather 80% of the whole country. 80 on a Sunday. The president cannot even dream of doing that. Even a whole political party will win maybe only 10%, 20%, 20, 30%, 50%. But that is once in 4 years at a vote. But every week, a whole country goes to listen to minister men of God. That tells us that whatever we become as a nation depends on the stuff we are being fed with in our pulpit. That tells us that if the pulpit gets it wrong, we will never have a developed country. So if the focus of the pulpit is telling people day in, day out, every week, that just wait on God, raise up your hands. Yeah, I'm going to pray for you. I have the anointing. I have the man that God has put some oil on. And I'm going to pray, and you are going to be wealthy. And we are telling them God will do it, or it will just happen somehow. Not telling them the skills that are needed to create goods, services. Not telling them that wealth is not created by miracles. Wealth is created by goods and services. If we don't tell them that, if we are just telling them to be looking for somewhere, ephemeral, somewhere in the sky, that country will be wallowing in poverty while the preacher will be living big. Because they will say, tell them to bring to him. Bring to me the little you have, then you will be rich. But the only person who is getting rich is the man. So that is why we must change the message of our churches in Africa. And America has destroyed us. And America doesn't live like that, though. But a few preachers in America, they call them word faith people, they have brought their message to Africa that only prosperity comes only when you bring tithe and offering and money to pastors and things like that. And our churches in Africa, we have taken it to another level, more than any America, any country can do. But can you imagine what will happen if even 10% or 20% or 50% of African pastors every Sunday will be telling them that there is dignity in labor, and that if you don't have a skill, come. This is your home. This is the church. We are going to empower you. We are going to train you to have skill. If you are a member of this church, you must be skillful. You must be contributing. If this is what we are teaching our people day in, day out, we will overtake Europe. If we enlighten our people, bring them that light, remove ignorance, depending on miracles, on prophecies, on things like this, tell them to come to the earth and to use their human resources and the resources and the work of time and the creativity, the human capital resource that is in them. If pastors begin to talk like this is what I did in Ukraine. In Ukraine, the white people didn't want to follow me. The white people said I'm a black person, because it's a thing you have to ask the question. Why is it that all African pastors in Europe are pastoring only black people like themselves? But Sunday Adelaja has been able to pastor a church of 99% white people, Europeans. Why? And this is the reason. Because they were not going to follow me, the white people will not come. I said, instead of me to gather black people, I would rather go back to Africa. Because God sent me to Europe. How can I come to Europe and be gathering black again? But he sent me here, not the Europeans are living. If the Europeans are living here, they are the ones God sent me to. So I said, I used to have black people in my fellowship. I disbanded the fellowship. I said, all of you go to anywhere you want. Only white people I'm going to get. I so far for 4 years, none of them came. Then God gave me wisdom. Said, go and get, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the homeless, the people in the street. Get them and put what you know into them. Clean them up, pray for deliverance. I pray for deliverance, they get delivered, break the power of Satan over their life. Then I begin to train them 3 times a week on how to be developed. So they stop drinking, they stop smoking, they stop dealing in the street. I will give them skills. I send them back to primary school. Some of them didn't finish primary school or secondary school. They finished secondary school online. I trained them to go to university. As a result, I took people who were, just ordinary people. To be 200 of them became millionaires in 3 years. This is by giving knowledge, empowerment, by giving illumination, enlightenment to the mind of men. But if what we are going to be doing is just telling them to wait on God, it is the same human being with human brain. We are killing them that way. And we'll just be surprised why our country is not being developed.
Well, folks, our guest is Dr. Sunday Adelaja. It's written over 300 books. He's our guest. And earlier we wanted to look at our natural resource, but he's given us the real natural resources that's available to every human being.
That's time.
Everywhere, and that is time. And the bane of our development has been, especially on the African continent, is our ignorance. And he is praying that those things will go away. I factored in what we can do, the conduit to use in educating people using the church, because in Africa, majority of the people, at least, if nothing at all, Nigeria and Ghana, over 71% of our population in Ghana are Christians, which means that we belong to one denomination or the other. And our reference point has been on Sunday or Saturday or even on Friday. We assemble, we meet, we congregate with our leaders. So where else can we get that education except the church? And that's why we brought in that church area in which our guest has been able to expand how he succeeded. And so, Doc.
I use that illustration as of time. That is the amount of seconds that we have in a day.
All right, so we are preparing to continue with our prof. Doc, we just want to still let you know that some of his books are available. We have one here, The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity, Transforming Nigeria Through Diversity, is here, written by Dr. Sunday Adelaja. And then we also have another book here, How to Overcome the Fear of Death. There's also a piece from the camp of Dr. Sunday. This one is Discovering the Purpose and Calling of Nations. It's also written by him. My favorite all time is How Africans Brought Civilization to Europe. That one is also here. And another good book, Building Bridges, Not Walls or Fences, The Role of Elite in National Transformation. We still have The Kingdom First, Church Second, Money Won't Make You Rich, God's Principle for True Wealth, Prosperity, and Success. And the last one I have here is How the Nigerian Economy Can Overtake the American Economy. Now, all these books are written by our guest who is joining us via Zoom to deal with us this evening on a topic crafted. Yeah, because after we have sent to him, and I think that it ties in, it's in tandem with what we intended to discuss, because essence of time, there's no better resources than time, which is available to everybody. And it depends on how you use it. If you use it well, you are safe. If you decide to apply ignorance to your time usage, that's your matter. And that's where Doc is helping us unravel a lot of mysteries surrounding proper usage of time and how we can harness it to benefit the African continent. So, Doc, thank you again for establishing the contact.
To answer your question about the 86,000, what I was trying to do in that article is this. I was trying to say, just imagine that $86,400, $86,000 $400, 86,400 is being credited to your account on daily basis, but with the condition that that money must be spent before tomorrow morning, in 24 hours. So at 12 midnight, they put the money, 86,000 US dollars, 400. Put it in your account. But before midnight tomorrow, you must finish spending it. If you don't finish spending it, that money disappears. But tomorrow again, another 86,000 will come into your account. But every day, the one you spend is yours. Anything you can do with it, that is what you keep. But the money itself, you cannot keep. You must use it to do something. So whatever you use to do will remain. The rest will disappear. This is exactly how God has treated all of us. That 86,400, that is the amount of seconds that each one of us has in a day. 86,000 seconds. It does that, but let's not call it seconds. Let's call it dollars. If it is dollars, everybody will be running, trying to find what to do in a day. But time is even much more valuable than that $16,000. But we don't even pay attention to it at all. Whereas time is what you could use to create a product that will give you something more than 86,000 in a second. So this is what I'm talking about here, because that is the principle that God was trying to teach us in the Old Testament. You remember in the Old Testament, the story of manna. You know, God gave manna to heaven for each day, but manna could only last for 24 hours. So if you don't eat, if you don't finish eating it, then it spoils tomorrow morning. But tomorrow it will come again. So the same thing, the same principle here. Time is that manner. Can you imagine that 86,000 seconds is available to everybody and we're not doing anything with it? That is what makes the difference between the wealthy nations and the poor nations. The wealthy nations have taught their citizens on how to maximize their human capital every time, every second, every minute. That's what they are using to create wealth, even though they don't have any raw materials. But they have taught people to develop their mind, their consciousness, and time is like God here. Here, time is like God. It's like addiction. Everybody is running. People are running to boss to every because of time. Because they know that 86,000 every second is what their life, their economy, their whole everything depends on. So Africans must realize that and begin to take advantage of that as well. Sorry, go ahead. That's my answer.
Wonderful. In the article, you pointed out some. Okay, let me read it. You painted a picture of the value of time to the following group. A student, 1 year. Okay, if you want to know the value of a year, ask the student who was in the final year in his university education when the lecturers went on strike and the school ended up closing for a year. Interesting. And he said, if you want to know the value of a month, ask a pregnant woman if a month matters in her pregnancy. If you want to know the value of a week, ask the editor of a weekly magazine if he fails to meet up with the target of his weekly publication. If you want to know the value of a day, ask someone who could not find food to eat or water to drink for a whole day when he is hungry. If you want to know the value of an hour, ask new lovebirds that are waiting for each other at a different bus station. If you want to know the value of a minute, Ask the person who came to the train station or airport a minute late. If you want to know the value of a second, ask the person who just crossed the road at the wrong time and barely escaped being hit by a speeding car. If you want to know the value of half a second, ask the person who came second in a sprint event at the Olympics. So, as Proverbs 90:12 says, teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Amazing. Amazing.
Yes. So what's the question?
So, honestly, because we haven't read the article, I wanted to pass this one on for people to know the value of time, which sums up whatever you have shared with us tonight.
Yes.
See, do you think Africa can ever escape from the prosperity gospel?
We need to do a lot of hard work for that to happen. There is a pastor in your country. I've never met him, but I've met a lot of his disciples and a lot of his followers. And you know, I know about him a lot, and I've read his books and I've listened to him preach. I think it's unfortunate that Africa values more this prosperity, miracle gospel than the gospel that this man teaches. But this man, who is a Ghanaian, is one of the greatest assets that I see for Africa. His message was introduced when I was not even a pastor. 40 years ago, I listened to him first time. No, not 40, 35 years ago, I listened to him first time. And this man was introducing another gospel, which is the correct gospel to Africa. He was introducing the gospel of the kingdom. And he started talking about basically this kind of things that I'm talking about now, about the importance of human development, about the importance of skills, about the importance of, teaching the practical gospel, the social gospel, the practical gospel, rather than, just the ephemeral gospel, the tangible gospel. But this man, even though he's popular and he's a big man in your country, but people just know him and value him as a man. But his messages must be examined, not just by Ghana, but by all African people. And all African people, if we focus and discard the Americanized gospel that we have been taught, gospel of prosperity, and embrace the kind of message that this man teaches, we will see a new transformed Africa. The name of the man is called Altabel, something Altabel. Is it Mensa Altabel? That guy has the right message. He has the right direction. But unfortunately, what surprised me about him, though, is that he brings all those funny guys to his pulpit too. I'm surprised. I said, how can this man have the right message and bringing funny guys to his own pulpit too to come and preach in his conferences? So those are the kind of paradoxes we see because it will bring people like Ashimo Lowo, who is my friend and a Nigerian like me, and people will be talking about, money. They want to, you see, it's also a status thing in Africa. All of them want to be friends to one another. They have some sort of camaraderie or whatever, the friendship that's making them to be friendly with the people who are carrying poisons for our people. And you will still be bringing them to your pulpit. So that is what I don't understand about Africa. But the guy has great messages, but I don't know why he's still bringing and embracing the funny characters.
All right.
So it will be a challenge. Whoever asks that question is going to be a challenge. For us to be able to get rid of prosperity message, we must have some men of God or some people in the society who are firm enough to speak the truth. But our people don't want to offend people. That's the problem. We don't want to offend the big bad guys, especially if they are big. Because they are too big, you don't want to mention their names. You don't want to talk about them. Everybody want to play it safe. But for us to be able to really get our people delivered from these deception preachers, we must name things by their names and say, these things are wrong and these things are right. And be bold about it. And then maybe things could begin to change. But I don't think that will ever happen in our generation because, you know, we are too not too diplomatic. We are too hypocritical. We don't want to face the truth and speak it. And that's the problem.
All right, Doc. Yeah, but I want to take you back for a moment because we are interested. You made a profound statement initially that when you went to Ukraine, you actually wanted to establish a church. The whites were not buying into the idea. You have to disband your black guys, and you decided. But somewhere along that conversation, you truncated it. We wanted to understand. So what was the turning point for you? How did this whole issue, you began with those in the ghettos, that's fine. But how do we get up, you know, ending up bringing a lot of people to such figure that you were able to record with 99% of your congregants as whites? How did you get it?
Very good. So this is what I pray that God will help me to do in Africa, because I don't plan to come to Africa to start a church. I want to make a point that I will not start a church in Africa. Without church, I will just be using the principles of the Bible and the principles of the scriptures to train people from the street, people who are poor, uneducated, ordinary people. I want to prove to them that this is not just for white people, that what I've done here. This will work for black people too. I will take people, let's say I take 10 people from the street, anyone that wants, and I will begin to empower them. I will spend my time to change the information content that they carry. And I will begin to empower them with materials for which life is made. And I'll begin to teach them principles of creativity, how they could create something from nothing, just using the principles of God and the principles of life. And not praying, just using the principles of the Bible. God has already given us everything. So if they want, they can pray. If they want, they don't pray. That's why you have people like Bill Gates, Bezos, and all these people who are billionaires. They are not even Christian. They don't even pray. They don't even believe in God. You know, God has already provided everything for us. But instead of us to take advantage of those principles, we leave them and go and be looking for something in the air. So what I did is that I gathered all those drug addicts, alcoholics. I used the power of God. Because they didn't know. Europeans don't believe that there is miracle, or especially the former communist people from Russia. They don't believe that. But I use the power of God. I pray. And I use the power of God. I cast out the demons from them. Because most of those homeless people, white people, if you see white people that are homeless, that are sleeping in the street like this, it's not ordinary. Satan is walking there, or they are demon possessed. So I know that. So I just cast out the demon out of them. Then they will not know what happened to them. They will come back the next day and say, I couldn't drink today. I was able to sleep. And depression went. And all of them are suffering from depression and things. So that's this aspect of the power of God. But in Africa, we already believe in God, which was more difficult for me, for Europeans, because I have to convince them first of all that there is God. But here, I don't need to do that because our people are already believing in God. So after teaching them that there is God, I now began to show them the Bible and tell them that, look, I will use the principles of this world to build your life. The reason why you became who you became is because you had built your life on the wrong principles. Now I will begin to introduce to you principles that God created the world on, and that word will recreate, those principles will recreate you, and you'll become productive, and you'll become a blessing. All your family members will begin to run after you, After 1 year of teaching these people 3 times a week, principles like this, they were looking so different. They were looking clean. You know, they want to go to get a job. They went to do online primary school, secondary school. In 1 year, they finished primary school and secondary school. They started studying, reading, you know, giving on they finish school. Then after that, they go and learn skills. They get skills. And then they begin to teach them other principles. So that's why I said in 3 years, we were able to, 200 of them became millionaires. Just by teaching them. That's why I write a lot of books. Because these books that I'm writing, they are principles. Principles of life. Is it on wealth? Is it on time management? Is it on... So all the people began to live by those principles. And so by the time people are landed, for example, let's say one of them that is being rejected by the family, the father and mother have rejected him because he was drinking and sleeping in the street. When they saw him come clean, giving them money, bringing them products, giving them money, blessing them. They said, what happened to you? Who did this? Take us to that man that did this to you. This is not by miracle, this is by training and teaching. So they come. In 1 year, we were having 1,000 people. From 4 years, I couldn't have one person, white person. In 1 year, there were 1,000 white people. My church was overflowed. They just flooded me. All of the people that we cleaned, that we raised up, the wives, the ones who are married and their wives had left, the wives began to come back and say, what happened to you? Please take us to that place. This is how our revival started. When you make people produce results, not by miracle that God did it, but they are seeing it physical. That he couldn't talk before, now he's talking. He couldn't read before, now he's reading. He couldn't walk before, now he's having skills. He's telling them what he's doing. You can see it. He didn't have a degree before, now he has it. He didn't finish primary school before, now he has a degree. Now he's leading other people, teaching other people. So if we can give people real quality, not just making them to come to church and be singing, and then pastor just comes and talk, the same Bible, the same stories of Jesus fed the 12,000 and something, so for all the same story. No, the reason why Jesus fed people is because he saw a need. It's not just for us to repeat stories. We have to get principles from it. When I read that story of Jesus feeding 5,000 people, I see something. Jesus saw the need of the people and he will not pass them by. Okay, that tells me something. I should never neglect or pass by the needs of people. Number one, the need that he saw there was poverty and hunger. Jesus designed a system and a mechanism to resolve that problem. But in my church, in my continent today, they read that story that Jesus provided solution to the problem of poverty and hunger. But my people, my pastors in my country today are telling people to pray to God. But how? Jesus didn't tell them to pray to God. Jesus designed and invented the solution and resolved it physically right there. But we are telling them to now continue. So why did Jesus come? Jesus came so that we will see his example and follow. So it means if I believe in Jesus, I must copy him. And what do I copy him to do? If I see crazy people all over the streets of Ghana, I must make sure that if I am a follower of Jesus, nobody is walking naked and I take place in this country. Because that's what my Jesus did. He never bypassed the problem. He designed solutions. He looked for systems. He looked for the algorithm. And he used the algorithm to bring about solution, principles. So this is what church is meant for. This is what pastors should do. He's not telling people to say, okay, God will do it, God will do it. No, Jesus didn't say God will do it. He said, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. I will make, God has sent me. Forget, don't be crying to God again. Don't bother God. I am here with you. He has the principle. He made those people into personalities that cannot be denied. And that cannot be.
Okay, Doc, but there was, a lot of questions are in. People are saying that before convener goes ahead to read it, what I've seen I want to read to you is that, would you have come to Africa if war has not erupted in Ukraine?
Yes.
And with all these good ideas,
yes.
What would you have come to Africa to help?
Ebenezer knows that I was planning to come before this game. Yes, I was, because God spoke to me and he appeared to me that by the last stage of my life, everything I've done in Ukraine, I must bring it back to teach my people. My heart aches every day that if God would just allow me to do at least 10% of what I've done in Europe for Africans, I will be fulfilled. I'm not fulfilled to the end because I'm doing it for these people. They are not as bad as our people. Our people are worse off. God, send me back. I've been crying for him. And so this war for me is a blessing in disguise. I know that I must be able to help my own continent because we have more need, greater need than Europeans.
Right. We have more questions. Oh, yes.
So, DSA, please, any practical suggestion on initiating a campaign on values like value for time in the African context?
Yes. Number one, stop giving too much money, or your money to people that you cannot control what they're using with your money. So if you go to church, if you believe in your church and the pastor and he's asking you to give tithe, you can give tithe, but you must know what that tithe is being used for. If you don't know what that tithe is being used for, take that tithe, put it in an NGO or in a fund for yourself. Create a fund for yourself and put all your tithe inside and use that money to pursue whatever passion. Like let's say the passion God has given to you is to campaign and bring enlightenment to people in the area of maybe time management or maybe something else. Maybe God wants you to take care of pregnant women, for example, or to take care of widows or orphans and things like that. Put your money there. The money that you are throwing to some pastors or giving to some churches, you don't know what they are doing with it. Put them together in your own account, or put somebody to be responsible so that you will not be tempted to touch it, and use it to pursue what God said. Jesus said the true religion is to take care of the widows, take care of the orphans, meet the needs of people like Jesus did. He went and solved the problem of hunger. He fed the people. Use your resources to do that. But if you are putting it into the hand of people you don't know what they will do with it, how will you serve God? You are not serving God. You are deceiving yourself. You are following religion. So form a system like that. That's number one. You need the resources. You have the resources already. Only you are throwing it away. So from throwing it away, package it and use it to pursue your own passion. That's number one. Number two, create a team. Begin to talk about your passion and let 10, 20, 50 people or 10 people, 5 people gather together, people who believe in your passion. Put them together and tell them this is our own ministry. Don't let anybody make you a bench warmer. Stop just going to church to warm church. Maybe you make a provision for yourself that I will only go to church, for example, 2 hours a week. All the other time that I was spending on church before, I will begin to now use to propagate, maybe to whatever your passion is, to pursue your own passion. Maybe you are going to use it to go and be feeding people, or to go and help people, or to go and, to help, pregnant women, widows, or orphans. Pursue your vision, live your life, live your passion. Because by the time you get to heaven and meet God, God will not hear your excuse that, this is what the pastor teach me or something. No, you will answer alone, you by yourself before God.
Yeah, but Doc, just a little on the tithing. Were you receiving tithe from your church members?
Yes, Ukraine? But it's voluntary. Anybody who believes in what we are doing and sees what we are doing, he can invest in a particular project that he sees that we are doing, he believes in, and he gives his tithe for that particular project.
Oh, okay. So you are not taking tithes?
No, not. Yeah, that is the whole idea. There must be responsibility. You must bring it for a particular purpose. For example, people bring tithe in our church, okay, but for maybe drug addicts, maybe the homeless, maybe the, whoever, whatever you see that you can see the result. I can see the result of what you are doing with my money. Then you bring it. Otherwise, go and use it yourself.
Great.
Yes, there's other questions because of time. What role does prayer play in the success equation? The names you mentioned, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, don't pray. Yes. But in Africa, we pray too much with little success.
Yes, but there is place for prayer. The thing is that, for example, when I see people who pray, I want to tell them to tell me what is the result of your prayers. Tell me what you have been able to do. But what prayer is supposed to do, number one, is to reveal to us the mind of God. Now, the people like Elon Musk and people like that, they don't know God. So we have an edge. But even if we have an edge and we pray to today and tomorrow, and we don't have the skills that they have, we will never be able to compete. The only way prayer will help us is if we are as developed as people in the world, we have all the skills necessary. Then beyond that, we still connect to God. Then we have an edge to receive information and insight and understanding and illumination that they don't have. That is when we'll be able to be better than them. That's what prayer is supposed to do, to give you insight. But if you don't have skills, it's just like some saying, I have somebody who is praying, a prayer warrior on one hand, and I have an engineer who is a rocket science builder on the other, a rocket builder on the other hand. So even if God wants to build a new rocket and wants to give the idea, you can give any revelation to the prayer warrior, he will only be prophesying. He will never be able to do it. But the skillful guy that has the skill, he just needs a
can implement the will.
You go and build it. So if you don't have the skills, no matter the prayer that you pray, you will not be beneficial to the earth.
DSA, if the war in Ukraine does not end soon, do you still have plans to return to Africa and pursue your plans to contribute to the development of Africa?
By the grace of God, if God will give me long life and keep my life, Africa is my next destination.
Okay. DSA, will it be wrong for a church to go into social enterprises so that they will resource enough not to beg money from poor people?
Beautiful. That is the future. This is what the church is supposed to be doing. Stop taking money from poor people, but use the money to develop industries, to develop products, to build enterprises that will be generating money. And instead of taking money from poor people, rather we'll be giving it to them. This is what the church will be doing. And this is what I plan to bring to Africa by the grace of God.
All right. DSA, selfishness as an attitude in Africa is killing the continent. You succeeded in training and restoring drug addicts into normal, responsible life. Whose selflessness went to set up rehabilitation center in order to help other drug addicts? How can the church produce less selfish people and produce more selfless people? Because sometimes even our prayer topics in churches create the seed of selfishness in people.
Yes, it has to start with the leaders. The leaders have to be like the leaders in the Acts of the Apostles. When they, in Africa, people will pray that the people in the Acts of the Apostles brought all the tithes and offering and money to the feet of the apostles. And that is where the African preachers stopped. But yes, they brought the offering and the money to the feet of the apostles, and they were distributed equally. They were distributed to all the people so that there was nobody in need. Can you go to any church in Africa today and say there is nobody in need? Can you go to any African church today and say that the money that was collected as offering and tithe has been distributed to everybody so nobody is in need again? We are not doing the Bible. We are corrupting the Bible. We are manipulating the Bible. What they did in the Bible is that they collected the money, but made sure they set up a committee that was overseeing everything to make sure that nobody's need is
nobody was in need.
Yes, nobody. Through the money that was being collected. But today, do you know what the pastor do with the money that was being collected? Everybody is building their own empire with the money. That's why I say, don't take your money there. Take your money and be responsible for your money. A building doesn't create a church. A church is where two or two are gathered. If you and your wife and your family say, okay, this is our own way we are going to be using our money, you can control it. You have more result before God. You have more, God will honor that more than you throwing it. It takes a responsibility to take money and just give to some church and don't even know what they do with it. And you say it's between him and God. Nonsense. Do be responsible to your money.
Yes, this is the last question so that we close. Beside time, what are the other principles that you have lived by, where you Okay, were you also always a great communicator?
Well,
Were you?
Time
Hello?
is just a little topic, just one point. I
Hmm.
mean, as you go to YouTube now, just go and put Sunday Adelaja nation building. You will see at least 100 or 200 videos that I've done on different principles of nation building. Just put nation building, Sunday Adelaja on YouTube. Time is, even you might not even see time there. So. Time is just one little point. There are so many other points on nation building. I've written books on them. These books that are here, these are nothing. Go to Amazon and put Sunday Adelaja and list of books. You'll see all the different principles, definitely, that are there besides time management. Time is just a little thing that we spoke about today.
Why? This one is, I think, is the last one. I think it's a comment. The bottom line of the problem on hand is that we have not drawn a line between religion and spirituality.
Yes.
We are just too lazy to read the Bible as such. We have let the pastors to read and interpret the Bible in their myopic understanding. In the process, man is lost and lost forever. They, the pastors and so-called prophets, tell church members to look up for miracles. What a shame. DSA.
Okay. So DSA, in wrapping up with us, what is your closing statement?
My closing statement is this. This man that you just read his writing was perfect. Don't mistake church to God. Church and God are not synonymous. And don't mistake spirituality with religion. Personal relationship with God, you and God. I'm a pastor, leave me out. I have a church, leave church out. You and personal relationship with God. You don't need to come to me. You don't need to come to my church. You, first of all, need to find God for yourself. I want to encourage everybody that's listening to us to find a way, either through listening to other preachers or through reading books or just going to solitude or something. Find a way to discover your own personal walk, your own personal relationship with God. Then He will speak to you what your calling is, what He wants you to do, what burden He wants to put in your heart, how you can best please Him. And you'll be able to know exactly the burden, the calling that God wants you to do. Then if you want, you can go to church, or if you feel God has called you to church, go there, but discover that from God Himself directly. Have a direct communication with your Father without any middleman, no church, no man, no human being. You alone with your Father first. And then from there, your life will pick up again.
Thank you.
Doc.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. You've been great this evening.
I'm a revolutionary. That's why I don't advise people to in Nigeria, people try to okay, in Nigeria, they call him Paul Enenche. He tried to invite me to his church. I said, hey, don't invite me, I will not come. He said, why? Because I know that if I go, this whole thing will scatter because go and be doing what I don't want people to be invited because what I will say things, I'm not afraid. I don't care. I'm going to speak the truth because I know that one on the side of God is a majority. And it doesn't matter whoever is against you if God is for you. So I want to just please Him alone. And it doesn't matter who you are pleasing if you are not pleasing God. But if you please God alone, let all people be displeased. I don't care. So that's what my own position. That's why I will mention name. I will say everything. No diplomacy. Just to let the truth come out first. And that, that's why I don't want to be friends with anybody. I don't want anybody to invite me because you are going to be offended because you are going to hear the truth whether you like it or not.
But when you come, if God willing, you come to Africa, you will still have to work with men here. And so I think that will still,
if they love this, it is Isaac Newton that says, Apollos is my friend, Socrates is my friend, but my greatest friend is the truth.
Thank you so much, Doc. We are blessed, and we hope to get to some other time. I'm sure we'll make a proper arrangement as we have done now, so that we can get back to you, and then we can continue to share that fellowship. Once that you still have the continent at heart, and God has given you the direction to come, we are also praying that you step in quickly, so that people who are ready to help to push the agenda will also be available, and so we all work together for God and for humanity, and for that matter, for the continent Africa. We want to thank you so much, together with our viewers and members of this Kingdom Economic Forum. We are so grateful for having spent your time and to research even on this material and speak to us. We are very, very grateful. We'll see you some other time. Maybe our convener will add one or two.
No, thank you very much, DSA. And like JB mentioned, we will find a way to get you more often. We know you are very busy, but knowing very well that you have plans to come back to Africa, I think we need to partner with you very well and work and then create an enabling environment for you as well. There are many, you have so many people who are following you here in Ghana. A lot of people reading your books here and there. And I think that when we come back, you create space for us so they speak to us once again. We thank you very much. Greetings to your wife, Reverend Bosse, and the kids. God bless you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Love to everybody that came. Some of them might want to have the article. So if you find a way to get to them, that
we'll share the articles with all of you. Those who are interested, we'll share with you. Thank you very much.
Guys, have a wonderful. May God bless Ghana and Africa.